Welcome to the Conscious Radio Network's YouTube channel. Become enlightened, have fun, and tell all your friends and family to share with everyone they know. You can find us on Facebook and stay up to date on our Facebook group, or find us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Our podcasts can be found on Libsyn, iHeart, Spotify, Google Podcast, and more. Most of all, remember to go to our official website at consciousradionetwork.com for podcasts, hosts, future shows, and scheduling. We also want to welcome our international audience. Don't stop now. Enjoy the community. Subscribe today.
This is the Conscious Radio Network.
Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you might be on this spaceship we call Earth. Welcome to Conscious Radio Network's weekly series, The Seance. I'm your host, Reverend Dr. Paul Meckes. If this is your first time tuning in, please click subscribe, like, share, comment, and also don't forget to follow us wherever you listen to your broadcast or podcasts. Uncovering the root of chronic disease, a functional health and wellness expert and educator. She teaches people all over the world how to take their health into their own hands, mind, body, and spirit. She has over 15 years of education in the holistic field and assists people in overcoming chronic health conditions and mental disorders. While her educational background is diverse, it's her own journey that really sets her apart. She is able to connect with people on a wide range of traumatic events that she has had to overcome herself, such as death of all family members and partner, abandonment, neglect, sexuality, growing up with an alcoholic, relationship trauma, homelessness, career challenges, lack of direction, feeling of hopelessness, gender identity, anger and fear, addiction, illness, and near-death experience. Let's welcome to the first time, Linn Rivers.
Thank you so much.
My friend. You are very, very welcome. How did this journey get you into what you're doing now?
Well, my journey started off pretty rocky, and I had pneumonia as a baby when I was 1 and 3. And that created a lot of physical ailments throughout the rest of my life, but also a lot of traumatic experiences from that. And so I spent the majority of my childhood years, teenage years in the hospital due to breathing issues, asthma. I was always on steroids, antibiotics, you name it. And it really wreaked havoc on my gut microbiome. And that caused a lot of hormonal disturbances. It caused a lot of mental instability. And more than that, I also watched the majority of my family die before I was 15 years old.
Wow.
My mom included, she died at the age of 40, and it was 4 days after my 15th birthday. And my dad was really sick too. I watched all of my family pretty much had some form of illness. And so when I turned 17, 18, I had this download that felt like absolutely intuitive. And it kind of guided me to search for an actual healing solution for something that I was dealing with. And that shifted everything that I was doing in life. And suddenly I realized that my body was capable of healing. I just needed to find out how. And so I took all of that, education, and I transformed it over and over into many different modalities and found my own healing. And from there, I started helping other people heal through chronic conditions as well. And it's just a natural progression. It just keeps progressing, as we get more information and I continue researching, I just find more and more that I can help people with.
Yeah. Now on your website at linnrivers.com, LINNRIV.
Correct. Yes. Thank you. Yes.
People can go there so what are you offering through your website?
So I do mindset coaching, which is really helping people understand how their mindset is affecting their health and wellness and their everyday well-being. And I do functional medicine, which really helps people get to the root cause of all disease. Mm-hmm. At the core of every diagnosis is a root cause. So I like people to make sure that they know that if you are diagnosed with a condition, that condition that you are experiencing is just a symptom of something being out of balance in your body. So I really help people understand what's actually happening and how they can move forward into a healthier way of living. And that includes lifestyle, dietary changes, supplement intervention. It really just depends on the specific person and what they're navigating. And I also do, so right now I'm actually working on a course, and this is kind of my big picture aha moment. I really want people to have access to this functional medicine information naturally. We should know this from elementary. We should know how to take care of our body. We should be the first person that we go to when something feels off. We should know, oh, this is what's happening. I need to do X, Y, Z. And unfortunately, that's not the case in any culture at this point. And so I'm creating a course that is literally only $50 for people to get all of this information that tells you about disease, where it's stemming from, and the root cause of the majority of illness. And I decided originally I was going to up the price, but I decided to keep it $50 from here on out because I do want people to just have this information. You shouldn't have to pay $3,000 to go see a functional medicine practitioner in order to get this information. And so that's kind of my big picture item that I'm working on at this time, and moving towards only keeping that and not working one-on-one with people anymore.
Yeah. And that is important is accessibility.
Yes.
Having people, all the world be able to connect with you, connect with your, what you're offering. Now, do you see, I've been seeing this a lot, and it's been progressing lately. There's this paradigm shift where some people call it the age of awakening. This whole shift is changing to where we're leaving the general mindset of medicine, pharma, and going more into the holistic approaches of healing. You see that shift getting more prevalent now, right?
Yes. Well, I think the big thing there is people are finally understanding that this is not new age medicine. This is old medicine, and we're finally getting back to old roots, right? Thanks to technology, we have access to all the information about what's actually happening in the Western medical system and how they're just keeping people sick and how the pharmacy industry kills millions of people, right? We're finally getting this information out there. And so people can't ignore it anymore. They can't keep going to get the pill just to mask the symptoms, and we're finally able to have this information. Therefore, we can do something about it. Now, of course, there's going to be that large group of people who they don't want to change. They don't want to actually get better. They just want to keep doing what they're doing. But for the people who are actually looking for, I want to get better. I've been dealing with this for 10 plus years, and I want to know how to move forward. Those are the people who are finally having that aha moment of, oh my God, they're keeping me sick and they're progressively killing me. Yeah. I need to do something different. And so I think we're finally just like grasping this knowledge and moving back into what it means to actually heal, and knowing that this isn't new, this is ancient, and this is how we used to do things before the pharmaceutical industry came in and shifted.
Hijacked.
Exactly. Yeah.
It seems like people think it's, oh, well, I think I'll just go to the doctor. I got health insurance. It's just an easy way, and I don't know, it's just a double-edged sword. Yeah, it's just, I'll go to the doctor, I'll get some pills, blah, 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 and I feel better. But yeah, it's only masking
correct
the symptoms. It's not correcting the actual issue.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how would you say that at a metaphysical aspect, the quantum physics, I can't even speak today. In the quantum physics, metaphysics aspect, how this can work and how this brings in the topics of like past life traumas, genetic, things that are not within this lifetime. But do you believe in the thought that sometimes that past life or other traumas outside of the realm of our current consciousness also can play a role in our health?
So after one of my near-death experiences, I don't see it that way anymore. And the reason I don't is because we don't need to focus on past lives. What we brought into this life is carried over from them. So we don't have to worry about what was going on in the past lives. What we're working on is what we have been working on and just haven't navigated yet. So
Yeah.
we don't need to concentrate on like, oh, but what if in my past life I didn't do XYZ? If you didn't do something in your past life, you're definitely doing it now. So all you need to do is focus on now and what are you working through, because this is something that has carried over because you haven't been able to, bypass it. You haven't been able to heal it, whatever it looks like. And so I don't see it as we need to do past life regressions or anything of those sorts, because we're already in that space. We carry over everything that we're, navigating. And then there's the idea of ancestral trauma. And that is more relevant because unfortunately we see what our parents do and we see what our grandparents do. And that carries into everything that we're physically doing too. So a lot of times we do have to work through a lot of what they were navigating only because we took that on as children. We saw what they did, so we took that on as our beliefs. Or, it can be as far as like, oh, well, my father had this disease, so that means that I'm going to. We program that very early on in life, and it can go across the board with what we believe politically or, healthfully, whatever it is. We carry those things through, so we can see it from an ancestral perspective, or we can see it as a learned set of things that we just continued doing subconsciously, right? We weren't really conscious of it, but we have to work through those and actually say, is this what I truly believe? Do I believe that I'm going to have this disease? Okay, then I'm going to, right? Because the power of our mind is so potent. And I really like to remind people that what we are told, we're being programmed all the time. We're constantly being hypnotized through media and everything we're watching and what we listen to. And there are, in the medical industry, there are times where a guy, for example, was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer, right? And the doctor said, you have 4 months to live, go home, get your affairs in order, do what you need to do. This guy goes home, he gets his affairs in order. He literally dies almost 4 months to the date.
Ooh.
Turns out the doctors read his charts wrong and he didn't even have pancreatic cancer.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly. But we feed ourselves so deeply what other people are telling us. And we have to stop and ask, is this truth? Get a second opinion, get a third opinion until someone says there's a better way, right? And so it's all of these different things that we bring in. But more than anything is the power of our belief. If we believe something to be true, then it's going to work either for us or against us. And that goes for crystals, it goes for homeopathic, it goes for natural modalities, it goes for Western. It really doesn't matter. It's our belief that makes it, function. It's the belief of the substance itself that makes it actually do what it's supposed to do, which is why we have the placebo effect.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is why it's so important and I tell people this all the time, is don't listen to everything out there. And that's not really, and that's getting other opinions, but move inward, seek inward, ask yourself, ask your higher self.
Yes.
What is going on? What is happening? And if you meditate on that, pray on that, you will get the answer.
Yes.
What the
100%.
stem cause is. Yeah. And,
yeah.
The universe will lead you into that direction and give you the answers that you need.
Yes. And on that note, it's the big reminder of that piece too, is that you can't expect it to look one way. I think a lot of people, like with spontaneous healing, they think, oh, well, I keep asking to God to heal me and heal my body. That the way that they could come through, your guides could come through, is by sending you to a website, by sending you to me, by sending you to another practitioner who has the answers for you. It doesn't mean that you're all of a sudden going to be miraculously better, but the person that they send you to might have the information that's going to help you take the steps to get better, right? I think it all comes back to that quick fix solution where people either want a pill or they want miraculous healing, instead of realizing that we do have a physical body. And our body has its own capacity and it needs its own substances too in order to function properly. And so that miraculous healing might be, hey, Google this, or your YouTube might pop up for someone and then they find a solution, and it looks so different. So don't expect it to come from one way or, to look a specific direction.
Yeah. That's why it's so important to have keyword optimizations in any media that you have online. Because if you miss one, somebody could be searching for it and be like, okay.
Exactly.
But if they're meant to find it, they'll find it. Some spirit will lead them into
Exactly. You're
that direction.
Yes, you're always going to be guided.
Yeah. Do you have any breakthrough cases that you would like to share through the work that you've been doing?
Oh, I mean, there's so many. I think big one is so many people with diabetes who are no longer on insulin. They no longer have to take insulin. And I like to tell people, I am going to put it out there that a lot of times you're going to hear people say you cannot cure the majority of illness. Like that is just like a taboo thing to say. But the reality is you can overcome any condition. And I have no shame in saying that. I think it's really detrimental to people's health that the Western medical system says there's no cure for everything. And I have worked with so many people who have had diabetes and they were on insulin and they couldn't survive without it until they understood why they were having this issue in the first place and how to reverse it. And once you do that, your body can come back into harmony and it can actually function, getting it back to homeostasis. And there are people that I've gotten off of numerous amounts of medication. I had a partner, actually, my partner who died of colon cancer, which was the same cancer that my mom died of. I was actually working with her before she died, and she got way better. She actually had a normal bowel movement for the first time in her entire life, being when she was with me for what I was doing with her. But to clarify on what happened there is she actually chose to reverse and start doing things the way she was doing them before because she didn't want to be here anymore. It was really hard for her to be on this planet and she wanted to go. So she chose to go the complete opposite direction again. And she eventually died. She didn't want to be here. And I think that's another big thing to remember is your healing is in your hands. Like it's up to you to heal. I can give you all the tools left and right all day long, but it's up to you to take the steps and it's up to you to actually want to incorporate everything. And so, I've helped people across the board with my biggest thing that I really look to do for people is help them with mental stability, whether it's bipolar disorders or depression, schizophrenia, it doesn't matter. There is an imbalance that's happening in your gut that is causing 99% of mental illness. And I can get to the bottom of it so quickly to where people go from on, so many different prescription drugs to not having to take anything and actually feeling excited about being here. So,
and yeah, the gut biome is so important for that. Yeah, that's
everything.
That's the heart and the brains of all the health. And
right. It is.
With the antibiotics that are being injected in, and all the meats and stuff like that, it's like, no, that's why I completely got away from beef and pork. I'll have,
grass-fed
grass-fed,
right.
And it's only basically fish and fowl.
Yeah.
And I'm even conscientious of where that's coming from.
Oh, of course.
So fruits, vegetables, clean diet. And I've noticed the difference over the last several years. No alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
And it does help. And so when someone's going through or reaches out to you for your program, I like that thumbs up there. What is usually somebody can expect? What is usually the first stage that you present to them for healing? Or let's pick a condition, anxiety disorder or PTSD or something.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, the first, what it looks like is it's a month-long program. And if you want testing, it's $3,000. If you want to do it without testing, which is extremely doable, it's $2,000. And I'm going to clarify something here in a minute. So what it looks like is it's a month long. We meet once a week and we do the testings. We get whatever we need information. If we're not doing testing, then it's just we're meeting. That's going to be actually 5 sessions with that. And it's going to be mindset coaching along with direct functional guidance. So we're going to go through every single one of their elements and link it and show them where it's starting from and how to change that. And there are really 3 main causes of all disease that I look at. And so from there, we have the first consultation is typically about an hour and a half to where we run through everything that they're going through, everything they're experiencing, what they've experienced. And we move into a treatment plan from day one. And so I get them on whatever supplements that I feel that they need. And I don't overdo supplements. I give them a way where they can see all of their nutrition information without having to do a panel. So we can see what they're missing in their diet on a regular basis, so we can incorporate those and get those back up. Because nutrient deficiencies is one of the main symptoms, right? It causes so many different disorders, and your gut microbiome cannot function without these nutrients. And I think a lot of people don't realize that we're only 10% human cells. The rest of us is our microbiome. And so like if you take away our soul and it's just a body, what's encompassing that is mostly microbiome, right? And so we need to be able to bring that back into balance, because that is our first defender for everything that enters our body, all of the viruses, the fungus, everything. We have our own viruses and fungus that take care of all of these things, right? And so I work around all of that. But to be clear, I am packaging all of this information for the majority of people who have any kind of disease in my, I guess you could call it a course, right? It's a do it at your own pace. And it just has all the information that I would want anyone to know about their health and what causes disease in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah. There's been this growing phenomenon on mushrooms. It's been really, I mean, you got all these coffees now, they're mushroom coffee and stuff. But now, what are your thoughts on this, of mushrooms or fungus and taking in, it seems like it's been overhyped and stuff like that. Is it overhyped, or
yes,
It
is. There are certain mushrooms that do have beautiful medicinal properties. But the thing is, if you are dealing with chronic conditions of any kind, chances are those are going to actually hurt you more than they're going to help you. For people who have like a perfect immune system and their digestive is great and their liver's processing everything, that's fine. Like it's going to be, I guess you could say, beneficial in one sense, because they're going to be able to absorb the nutrients from it. But otherwise it's actually causing a lot of difficulties for people who have chronic health conditions.
Yeah. Yeah. And here in the West, in Western society, I learned this when I had lived in China for about a year, is everybody that went over there had to get a medical report, make sure you're healthy. And everybody in the Western society has fatty liver disease. Everybody, no matter what. So, I mean, and that's just a small portion. Who knows what else we have as a whole, just because of our diet. What are your thoughts on people trying to being conscientious on what they eat, what they put into their bodies in this culture, in this society, of the type of foods that we have out, processed, bioengineered, and whatnot? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I actually have surprising information for people. So 88% of people in general across the world have insulin resistance. And one of the leading causes of that is the high carb diet. We were not meant to consume so many carbohydrates. And the amount that people consume is baffling. They don't think about it, right? But the ideal would be about 50 grams per meal tops, right? And most people are eating 3 meals a day. So that's already 150 grams of carbs, which is still that's considered low compared to what the normal American eats. But that's still that's hitting the high point, because that's spiking your glucose, which is spiking your insulin. And that is where actually all of the trouble stems from. Insulin resistance literally affects every single cell of your body, especially the liver. And so we have people eating all these things. And when you think about the average American who's eating, French fries and Coke and ice cream every single day, they're easily consuming 150 per meal, eating 3 times a day. And that right there is the reason that we have this insulin sensitive, this problem, for insulin resistance across the nation, especially here in the US. And when we can turn that around, because the beautiful thing is insulin resistance doesn't have to turn into prediabetes. It doesn't have to turn into diabetes. It can be reversed, right? And so it's really teaching people about carbohydrates and how what we're eating affects that, and how to navigate, okay, if I'm going to eat fruit, this is how I should be eating it, not just fruit by itself. Like there's so many different things that we need to take into account for. And a lot of people just don't know the simple information, right? And so it's something that's simple that can really shift a person's health quickly.
Yeah. And when it comes to carbs too, it's like there's so much garbage carbs out there. It's garbage. It's like I don't even consider it food. Look at the stuff they put in pizza, and I don't even know if it's real bread anymore. It sure doesn't taste like it. But so what is the most important part of overcoming some of these challenges in dealing with mental health and some of these chronic conditions other than, gut biome and some of these underlying conditions?
Honestly, it's self-love. It's coming back to truly loving yourself, because we're on this fad, of self-love, like take bubble baths and do all these things. And it's like, that's not self-love. Self-love is being able to say, no, I'm not going to go drink because I'm trying to fix something. I'm trying to solve something in my body, and knowing what is actually good for you and doing it, not using excuses, like actually understanding what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and incorporating that into how you live your life, being truly mindful of every step you take, and knowing that what you choose to do now is going to affect the future version of yourself. So for people, I always ask them, if you're in the same position 5 years from now, or potentially worse, because it usually does get worse, are you going to be happy? And a lot of times the answer is no. I can't imagine being in the same state 5 years from now, right? And so it comes back down to doing what you actually need to do, learning self-control, learning self-dedication. And that's really difficult for people when we live in a society where everything is just like, let's go do this, let's go do this. Everything revolves around alcohol, everything revolves around food. We're supposed to eat to live, not, and I think we've wrapped this idea that food equals happiness, and it's food equals survival. Like our bodies just need food to thrive. And we've just turned that so far. I mean, the restaurant industry is gigantic, and unfortunately the majority of it is just really crappy food.
Yeah. And now when you said that, as far as like bars and pubs, and just, it seems like this is all set up for failure. Our society's set up for failure. They want people to be sick. This is just a tool, a way. Oh, let's build as many bars and pubs and serve as much alcohol as possible, just so we can, make believe that people are, make them think that they're happy.
Make them think.
Yeah,
Exactly.
make them think that they're happy and can enjoy themselves. And you don't need to drink alcohol to be happy. You're just gonna
No.
look more like an a-hole later when you made fun of yourself or
Right.
embarrassed yourself. So
Right. Well, I think that's the thing. I think I like to remind my clients that if you equate drinking to happiness, you're masking something. Because again, alcohol is just another masking agent. It's a numbing agent. And it's everyone's doing it. And you would think that if the government knows how detrimental alcohol is to your health, they would do something, to curb it. But we don't, because they know, like, hey, even 1 ounce of alcohol can shift your gut microbiome, like just 1 ounce. That's it. And of course, they're not going to change that, because they're banking off of it.
yeah. Big industry. Huge. So before we wrap stuff up, share all your information, how people can reach out and find you.
Yeah, actually, you have it going at the bottom of your screen, www.linnrivers, LINN-rivers.com. And that's the best way to get in contact with anything that I am working on at this point. And I am working on a documentary that is going to be showcasing all of this as well, and why people are so sick and why no one's getting better. So there's a lot of upcoming things. And if people are interested in collaborating or supporting the documentary, I am definitely going to be up for funding soon. So yeah, find me there.
Absolutely. Yeah. Keep me, keep me especially, up to date. And I'd be happy to help broadcast, maybe put it up and
Awesome.
and share it and stuff like that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Definitely. So what would you give us a takeaway for our audience today?
I think my biggest takeaway is to genuinely invest in yourself. We spend money on so many things that are unnecessary. It doesn't help us evolve in any kind of way. Utilize that money to grow, whether it's education, doing something that you love, going on adventures, anything that elevates you as a soul. Because I like to remind people that our energy is one of the best and most beautiful healing tools that we have. When you are doing what you love and you are happy and you are healthy, you emanate this vibration. You are vibrational beings. And when you emanate that, you are attracting others who will match that. And you are emanating this healing vibration that other people are going to pick up on, and they're going to want to feel that way too. And so when you want to heal the world, heal yourself. Start with yourself, because your energy is going to make the biggest difference.
Yeah. Yeah. And that segues into one of my catchphrases is I put in a lot of my emails and stuff is be the light that we all seek.
Yes, exactly.
Be the change. If you see something in society that needs the change, be the change. Help advocate for it. And the work that you do, we definitely need more people like you in this world. Helping people, helping mankind, helping the shift that we've been stuck in a long time. So,
yes,
definitely.
Yes, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Lynn, blessings, my friend. You are doing awesome work, and let's keep in touch. And yeah, let us know about the documentary. And if you got any other stuff that you want to share with us into the future, definitely keep me posted.
Perfect. I will.
Awesome. Lynn, great. Thank you very much. Namaste, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
You are welcome. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into Conscious Radio Network's The Seance. And we will see you next week.